So how was your break? Did you notice something? Did something happen, or did you have a aha moment, or not at all, or what? Were you totally satisfied with what you were doing? Or were you doing the things in order to get more satisfaction? Not sure, eh? So you see, it's like what happened to me, because I happened to look at the telephone and I saw that I had received a bill. So the bills go directly to the bank account, which is on the computer. And so they're making this like more and more secure in order to make our lives more and more easy, isn't it? So you can't go into the bank account anymore with just the computer. You also need your mobile phone. I don't know how I'm going to do this when I'm not in Switzerland anymore. Probably can't access it. And so first it was a code that you had to kind of, I think, take a picture of, and then it would put you into your bank account. Then it was a number. Now it's like, you know, it's an app where it says you have to accept, and then you have to put your fingerprint. So it's like, it didn't accept my fingerprint. Oh, it's so frustrating, you know, when you, what can you do then? It doesn't want, and then it goes, no, not right. Change the position of your finger. Not right. Change the position of your finger. So then I thought, oh my gosh, you know, all these things are being invented to make our lives easier, isn't it? I mean, that's the purpose. Otherwise, why would they do it? And what does it do? It makes life more complicated. Anybody else had an experience a bit like this? No? Where you saw that the Buddha is right? Yes, Edouard?
Every day.
Every day.
More than once a day.
Yeah, of course. But it's good to, yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's good to just, you know, have maybe 10 minutes a day just to really focusedly look, why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I want more, better, easier, this and that? And how we turn around all the time. You know, all we want is peace of mind, isn't it? And time and relax and all this. And then when we would have time, then we can't relax because we have to do something. Unless we're trained to just sit still. It's amazing how difficult it is for us to do nothing, where it's almost impossible, isn't it? We find it terribly boring or whatever, because then we say, okay, I have nothing to do. Okay, I sit down and meditate. So then again, we sit down and meditate in order to bridge that time where we have nothing to do. So it all depends on the motivation why we do it. Actually, I had a good rest. Yeah, that's very good. But you were supposed to look at your mind and not to totally rest. Yeah. Okay, so it's interesting, you know, and you need a lot of humor actually to be able to see clearly, especially when we come now down to the causes of the suffering. You need a lot of self-acceptance the way we are, and instead of being, I was too tired. Yeah, so that's samsara, isn't it? We want to do something, or we have values or whatever, and then, you know, we're living totally opposite to it, or we do, it's too tired, it's too tiring. Samsara is tiring. This is the thing. This is why we're practicing, because we want to get out of it. So yeah, so you need a lot of humor, and especially when you look at the unhelpful mental states like anger and detachment. It's very important that you can find compassion for yourself instead of being, you know, upset and frustrated and not wanting to see, because then we don't have the courage to look. Yeah, if we start to judge ourselves. So that's, do you have that? Do you have this self-acceptance and compassion for yourself? When you look how much anger, how much self-cherishing, how much attachment that we have? Can you bring that up? And do you understand what this compassion means?
For others, yes, not for myself.
Yeah.
Not always.
It's very difficult, personally, for me to practice forgiveness and compassion to myself. I am very harsh with myself.
Yeah. So
I have high expectations.
I hope you're going to be there tomorrow, because then we do that a little bit with self-acceptance, or maybe also this afternoon. Yeah, as you say, it's very difficult for us. It's very easy for us to see when we like somebody that we see that they don't really want to have their negative emotions, but they just have them and it makes them suffer. And it's not easy for us to see, because we want to be perfect. And then we have to hide or suppress it, and then it just gets worse. It's really difficult to accept. Yeah. So I think when you have this kind of difficulty that you cannot look at your negative sides, it's really good to think, oh, it could be much worse. So that again, you put it into relationship with, hey, okay, I have anger, I have self-cherishing, I'm human, come on. But I'm working on it. So then we have the courage to look. And what I'm kind of meant to say, when we hear the words kindness and compassion, then people think it means you're not doing anything to amend. That's not what it means. Compassion means a wish to be free from suffering, and doing whatever you can to eliminate the suffering. If you cannot eliminate the pain right away, you find other means to be okay with the pain. This is compassion. Compassion also has an aspect in it. It understands that it can end. Because why? Because it has causes. Okay? Compassion also has a lot of wisdom, understanding that changing the mind is really, really, really difficult. And also that it's not enough just to say, okay, today I'm not going to get angry, I am not going to get attached, and all this. It's impossible. It's like saying, when you put a seed in your garden and the seed meets moisture and warmth, it's like saying, I don't want you to ripen. If the conditions are there for the seed to ripen, it will ripen. And the same thing, attachment, aversion, jealousy, arrogance, and all this, we have so many imprints for this to ripen. So all it needs is to meet the condition, and then it will ripen. So there's nothing we can do. So we don't have to judge ourselves, nor other people. Arising of negative emotions, we have zero control. It is a ripening of habits or tendencies. That's all, when it meets the conditions. What we can do is not to create more seeds and to do purification practices in order to, to eliminate or to purify the seeds that we have already created. Judging ourselves, feeling guilty, and all this is not going to help. And not, I have to, I must, I'm not allowed to, blah, blah, blah. All this is not going to help. And to really, when you, as Ariella was saying, if you have this tendency to judge yourself, you got angry or self-cherishing, whatever. And then when it calms down, and then you watch and you think, okay, did I really have a choice not to get angry? And then you understand, no. But you have to do this on the spot, not 10 minutes later, because 10 minutes later already you think, yes, I had a choice. You need to be still somehow in the experience. I think compassion is accepting yourself the way you are, and work, went very quickly, and work on the things that can be improved. Exactly. This is why we're doing this. Yeah. Compassion is an understanding that suffering can end. That is compassion. Yeah, and not pity, kind of poor me and blah, 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 self-pity. Oh, I'm so bad, and all this. And there's many antidotes to these things, but sometimes, you can't take just any antidote. You need to take the right antidote. Otherwise, if you just learn about some antidotes and you just apply it, then it's not going to work. It's like when you have diarrhea, you need to know which medicine to take, because if you take medicine for constipation, this is definitely not going to help your diarrhea. It's going to make it worse, right? So if you feel that you have a lot of anger, don't work with your attachment, kind of, not allowing yourself things. If you feel that you have a lot of anger, the first thing you need to do is to be in this case, very kind to yourself, and to give yourself the freedom to do certain things, like, I don't know, eating an ice cream or drinking a beer or, being comfortable. Because anger comes a lot out of being uncomfortable. You cannot fight your anger with aggression and with strength. You have to fight it with wisdom by first making yourself feel comfortable. Okay, and then of course the best antidote is to see that the I who is angry or attached to all this does not exist from its own. Anyway, we try to see some of the workings of anger and of attachment and anger, what it does, what the projections that come with this whole thing, the wrong views that come together with what is called nyermong. So again, you make yourself comfortable, settle down for the reflection if possible. If you still have some strength, you probably, poor things, you're totally exhausted probably. Sometimes we're trying too hard also. When your spiritual practice is exhausting you, not this kind of nice, soft tiredness that you can sleep really well, but this kind of tense tiredness, exhaustion, like this. But sometimes we can have a very soft feeling of being tired, but it's a content feeling of being tired. That one is okay. But sometimes feeling tired is like a bit like this, then it's a sign that you are trying too hard. You're too tense. You have to relax. So again, you need to have a lot of good, a good ability to do self-reflection so that you know which antidote to apply. It's not easy. Okay. Yeah, Shabbat Shalom, and hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye. So we settle. A happy feeling that we're able to do this, and a very big, big promise to yourself that as we are looking at the delusions, you're not going to judge yourself, but react to this with compassion. Try to feel, again, try to experience compassion. We can see the compassion in our gurus. Sometimes they're very stern, and sometimes we're afraid of them. But we understand, hey, they want to help me. I can eliminate the causes for suffering, the delusion. So maybe really good to start the meditation by just this one thought. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Allow that thought to take root in your heart. A heartfelt wish, genuine. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Already now understanding the causes. Root cause, wrong views of a really existing, separate, autonomous, inherently permanent, unitary I, me, or self. The grasping at it, the holding it for real. It looks like real, but it's not true. When we hold on to this I, me, or self, that also creates others separate from me. And then we have dualistic view, and then the suffering starts. Then our actions are not pure anymore because we're only concentrated on my happiness, my being free from suffering. So that's the cause, the root cause. Out of that, then whatever seems a good thing, whatever makes me temporarily happy, okay. We get attached to that. If we don't have it, we have desire. The moment we have attachment, we have fear of loss because we know that we're going to lose it at one point. The moment you call something mine, suffering is already there, even though in a subtle way. In a subtle way. Maybe we say like this? No. On a subtle level. We don't feel it. We don't feel the fear of loss. But it's there. We need to protect what we call mine when there is attachment. Again, before we start, think about Shakyamuni Buddha, who's freed himself from all causes of dukkha. He has understood dukkha, he has abandoned the causes, he has actualized the cessations by practicing a path. So we're following in his footsteps. The path is there. We don't have to invent it. Isn't that wonderful? The gratitude to the gurus, to the master, to the Buddha, the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni, Prince Siddhartha, who wasn't satisfied with his wonderful life and went to find the answer why there is so much dukkha. If he would have been happy and content with his wife, with his child, we would not be sitting here and trying to find ways and means to end our own suffering. Again, just for 5 minutes, for a few minutes, for 3 minutes, maybe you put your awareness on the body or on breath, on an image of the Buddha, or just on whatever is arising, like a choiceless awareness. This you can only do when you are relaxed and focused. Otherwise, you get thrown around with whatever kind of happens, because a lot is happening. Awareness is the best antidote for negative emotions, because we have to be aware, we have to feel them, we have to see them when they arise. Yourself be disturbed by the thoughts. They have every right to be there. Whenever painful feelings arise, judging yourself, hurting because of something, just whisper to yourself, this belongs, part of samsaric existence. With acceptance, we give it space, and then we can look at it in a much better way. Even our unhelpful emotions, we can tell them this belongs. Doesn't mean that we will keep them, but for the moment, they belong. Because some of them we need in order to survive. So don't kind of think you can just go through the world as an ordinary samsaric being without emotion. Not possible. But when they become obsessive, when they make us go out of control, then it becomes dangerous. Okay, so klesha or nyermong in Tibetan, there's a lot of different English translations for it. Afflictive emotions, negative emotions, mental poisons, whatever else you can come up with. But it's good to look at when we look at the Tibetan word nyermong, the definition of this is a mental factor that when it comes up in the mind, it makes the mind disturbed, unruly, and distorted. That's a good way to understand what it does. It's like when we have peace of mind, very happily kind of just going along with whatever is, all of a sudden either attachment or anger or anything else arises, like jealousy, arrogance, miserliness, depression, confusion, it's a long, long list. The three main ones are wrong views, attachment, and aversion. So whenever it comes up in the mind, from the mind being stable, quite open, quite happy, calm, peaceful, by its own power, it can agitate the mind. And then it's like a filter that comes up. And it distorts reality even more than it is naturally. Because even when we're calm, we see things as inherently existing, separate from our mind. And then we need logic, because these kleshas are totally not logic. They create a reality that intellectually we can see that, oh, this is totally exaggerated. But kind of, as we say, emotionally, we totally believe in it. We try to look what attachment is doing. It creates a picture of the object, the situation, or the person that is far too good. When we don't have the object yet, there's a longing to get it, to be together with it. A promise. If I am together with this, if I have it, then I will be happy. This goes for the longing for beautiful forms, melodious sound, delicious taste, smooth touches, and good smells. And the promise is, when you have had this, you will be happy and satisfied. Otherwise, we wouldn't spend so much money, effort, and resources on these sense objects. And every time we fall into the trap and we believe it, and we don't stop long enough to see that this was fake, it's not true. It gives me a moment of pleasure, that is true, but it doesn't give me satisfaction. So you can think about specific things that you like, that you spend energy on to get them. And then to think, gosh, how many pizzas have I already eaten? How many ice creams? How many concerts? How many movies? How many perfumes? Whatever. How much of this have we already had? Now, big question. Are we one step closer to lasting satisfaction, that we can say, this is it? I don't need any delicious taste anymore or melodious sound to be happy. Just be very honest and just observe without judging. with compassion. We are running after something that actually, not only it doesn't give us satisfaction, it destroys it. Because the moment we desire something else, we're not happy anymore with what we have. Maybe the telephone, the mobile phone that made us very happy 2 years ago, 6 months ago, because there's a new one. You know, take any other object. I'm just using one. Computer, mobile, car, Dharma practice, shoes, job, whatever. Something that made us very happy. When there's something new coming out, the same object hasn't changed. Not only it doesn't make us happy anymore, but it makes us dissatisfied. Not good enough anymore. The object hasn't changed. How come? That now we are dissatisfied. Two opposite states of mind. If you think of your toys from the past, while you were small, losing them would have been disaster. They could not have been replaced, even with the same thing. This is how fixed we are on these things. Where are they now? Where's your interest now? So changing the object is not going to bring satisfaction. Changing our attitude towards the object, this will bring us satisfaction. By looking at it and thinking, I know you are impermanent. I know that now you're making me happy, so I appreciate this very much. But I know this feeling of happiness, satisfaction will fade. And then it will be okay. I can still enjoy you now. I can actually enjoy you better now because I know it's not going to last. So desire and attachment, we kind of use it to get lasting happiness. But what are those two mental states doing? They destroy our peace of mind already now. So it's like using, I don't know, petrol to kind of put out a fire. It's liquid, yeah, but it makes the fire bigger. Following desire and attachment, less and less and less we will find things that make us happy and satisfied. And it takes away all our freedom. Now again, don't think that you shouldn't want anything, right? Wanting a good heart, aspiring a good heart, wisdom, liberation, enlightenment, that's okay. Because that will give us what we want, meaning lasting happiness. All the other stuff is all fake. Makes us happy for a moment. We feel bored. And then it disturbs us and we have to give or throw it away. How many objects have we already changed? How much closer are we to lasting happiness and satisfaction? Try to make a mental picture of all the objects made us very happy, a while, they became boring, then we threw them away. But I say in the text, you might have already read it, trying to fulfill our desires by just consuming, by just doing whatever desire tells us to go and get. It's like drinking salt water. We have a little bit of liquid that goes down the throat, because there's a moment of but then the thirst becomes bigger. It's like scratching a wound. You have an itching wound, you scratch it, it's pleasant, but it makes the wound deeper. It takes away our freedom. The moment you let go of desire for the wrong things, then freedom will. And isn't freedom something that we cherish very, very much? I mean, what feels more like happiness or freedom or peace of mind? Being able, in a very calm way, to say, no, okay, I want it, I think I need it, but actually, no, I don't. And without any suffering, but with wisdom and compassion to restrain from reaching out and getting things. Does that feel like freedom, happiness, peace of mind? Or getting every time what we need and want, and then after a short while needing something else? Does that sound like freedom, happiness, satisfaction? We need a lot of discipline to say no to Shempa, like this drive, this kind of push that we have towards, as Pema Chodron says, biting the hook, because we only see the worm. We are the fish, we see the worm, we kind of know there's a hook behind the worm, but the worm is so tempting, promising lasting happiness, that we bite it and we have another hook, which hurts. We need discipline, but with wisdom and compassion, not with force. By thinking about the disadvantages of attachment, desire, again and again and again. By seeing the filters, by seeing the wrong promises that it makes. By seeing that desire and attachment actually, instead of giving us what we want, it destroys what we cherish the most. Peace of mind, spaciousness, a good heart. Then another danger of attachment is if attachment doesn't get what it wants, it gets angry. If we wouldn't have so much attachment, we would have much less anger. As Ariella was saying, my expectations towards myself are so high. And then, if they don't get fulfilled, then anger comes. And anger works the other way around with the filter. It only sees what is unpleasant. It blames the situation, the person, or the object for my present unhappiness, uneasiness, nervousness. We totally believe it. And we're totally convinced, if I can drive this person away with my aversion and anger, they keep away from me, I will be happy ever after. This is what anger said. Total illusion. And we're not stopping long enough to check if it's true. The person is gone. we still feel uneasy. There's still moments that are not satisfying. So anger can range from slight irritation up to strong hatred that result in violence and murder. So when you look at your own anger, then we start to understand that we have no control. When another person is angry towards you, we think that they're doing this on purpose. And we start to understand they also have no control. They suffer because of their anger. They create causes for more suffering in the future. Also, very often with anger, we lose our intelligence. So we think that we are stronger than we actually are. And if we get angry at somebody who has more power than us, then we really get. So anger seems to protect us, but it doesn't. It destroys everything that we cherish. It can destroy our health. Imploding anger, exploding anger, same thing. It can chase our friends away. We can lose our job. Nobody respects us. Nobody likes us. Nobody appreciates. And we're using anger in order to be happy. How ridiculous. Now again, it does not mean that you let others walk over you. But when you protect yourself from others, try not to use this kind of exploding or imploding anger. But you, again, use compassion and wisdom and protect yourself also for the other person's sake. But it's also good to see the wish, the urge that we have to discipline other people that we think they are really bad. Your job on this middle level of the Lam Rim is to discipline yourself. But again, maybe discipline is not the right word, because behind discipline we put harshness, kind of sternness, austerity, punishment. No, discipline is Shila, a cool mind who can say no to the kleshas, who does not collaborate with. That is discipline. Shila means cool, not hot, not a hot mind. A fresh mind, a cool mind. In a very composed way can say no. Doesn't follow the klesha. Because it understands the distortion that although it seems true, but it seems real, but it's not true. And it also understands the root. It's grasping, holding for true a third entity that we call I, me, or self. It seems to exist as something separate from the body and mind, like the boss, and that we need to protect. Holding this for real, that is the only enemy that we have. And because it doesn't exist the way that it appears, we can eliminate it by wisdom and compassion. Compassion for the one in whose mind stream this wrong view is sitting. Wisdom by seeing it only appears, but it doesn't exist. Isn't that wonderful? The answer is there. The method is there. The example of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, your gurus, is there. We're so fortunate. So to finish, we dedicate definitely for the long, stable and healthy life of all our gurus, especially His Holiness the Dalai Lama. We dedicate for ourselves that we let ourselves be inspired, that we find the conditions in order to continue and keep practicing, not just in this life, but in all our future lives, so that then we can become a Buddha and lead all sentient beings to that state. And may the supreme jewel, this wonderful mind of non-violent bodhicitta that has not yet arisen, arise and grow. May that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Okay. So thank you very much for listening, meditating, which creates a lot of positive energy. So that's really wonderful. And of course, we dedicate it for the well-being and happiness of all sentient beings, because we're doing it for them. And so from my side, it's fine, I've finished. But if you do have questions, you're very welcome to ask before we finish. Looks like all clear in that case. Yeah. Okay. So enjoy your evening. Tomorrow is Bodhicitta Day. So Valda is raising her hands. So tomorrow is Bodhicitta Day. So then we finish tomorrow with Tonglen. And we finish the path. Yes, Valda.
Yes, thank you.
What?
Just,
Your hand is.
yeah, just thank you.
Oh, just thank me. Okay, you're very, very welcome. But thank you also. Have a good evening. Yeah, it's here still, it's 3 o'clock, so it's beautiful weather. I'll go for a walk in the vineyards and think that may all beings be able to enjoy this beautiful environment. This is what I'm going to do now, to air out the brain a little bit also, to move and to have fresh air. So that will be good. Okay, great. Thank you, Tomer, for being my host.
Thank you very much, Anila.
For looking after us in such a good way. And Shabbat Shalom, and maybe see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Anila.
Tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Walk.
Danny.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.